David Jones Garcia and Lindy Waters III have joined the Spurs. Do either of these players have a chance to crack the rotation? Let's jump into these roster moves. So let's go back to July 23rd. The Spurs officially signed David Jones Garcia to a one-year, two-way contract. And then on July 24th, the following day, the Spurs signed Lindy Waters III to a partially guaranteed contract for the veteran minimum. Waters III has a $500,000 guarantee that's partially guaranteed, and then his contract will fully guarantee if he remains on the Spurs roster after January 10th, 2026. So let's just talk a little bit about these two players and their projected roles. So David Jones Garcia, I've talked about him multiple times here on the Spotted Pod, 3-level scoring guard. Can play a little bit off the ball as well. We saw him, really shined at Summer League. So against Summer League competition, he really stood out. He made the All Summer League team. Now, of course, we'll get to see in the preseason how he stacks up against full NBA talent here. Players in rotation rosters and things like that. So again, David Jones Garcia is one of the players, and then there's Waters III, who has been more of a reserve player on different teams. He was primarily with the Thunder for a number of years. Then he was last season with the Warriors. Then he gets traded in January to the Detroit Pistons as part of the Dennis Schroeder deal to Detroit. So he's mainly been like a reserve wing, known as an outside shooter. That's kind of his game. I wrote a piece over on the Spotted Pod looking at his game, and so a lot of it is his different kind of shooting outlets, how he's able to shoot, off catch and shoot action, off a few pull-ups. Also, really good about shooting off of screen action, and so that's kind of where his role would be more so as a shooter off the wing position for the Spurs. But for those two players to get into the rotation, it is going to be a little tough because the Spurs have a number of players already ahead of them on this coming team. So basically, if we talk about players that are locks, I think to begin the season, I think there's 9 players that are going to have some sort of role that are going to be locks into the Spurs' rotation. That's Victor Wembanyama, Stephon Castle, De'Aaron Fox, Devin Vassell, Harrison Barnes, Dylan Harper, Luke Cornett, Keldon Johnson, and Jeremy Sohan. So again, those 9 players should have some sort of role definitely guaranteed on opening night and for the first few weeks of the season. I think also Kelly Olynyk, you can plug him into the front court, that he's going to get some spot minutes, here and there, or certain lineups that they need him out there. So he'll definitely get some minutes to share alongside Wemby and Luke Cornett. So Olynyk's going to get some minutes as well. So then that leaves that backup wing spot. There's like a backup wing spot, almost like a backup shooting guard role. And so I think that's where the positional battle will be in both training camp and the preseason between Julian Champagnie, Carter Bryant, Lindy Waters III, and David Jones Garcia. So again, if Waters and Jones Garcia, one of them wants to try to earn a spot in the rotation, I think that it would take, trying to beat out basically Champagnie and Bryant for that spot. So my early prediction, again, this is very early, we haven't seen the games be played yet, is that I do think that Champagnie would be the player that I have penciled in there for that backup wing spot, just because, he already has experience with the Spurs team, with the teammates out there, knows his role, on offense and defense as well. And then, Bryant definitely, we saw in Summer League, he definitely brings the defense. I mean, he can definitely, bring a spark defensively, but his offense, even though he's known as a catch and shoot kind of player, we saw that his 3 struggled a little bit in Summer League, and again, it's just Summer League, but also offensively, like kind of when he moved with the ball in his hands, he kind of struggled there. So again, he may not quite be ready for a rotation spot just yet. Waters, again, he's going to bring you the outside shooting ability, but defense is not the part of the game that he's quite known for. And then Jones Garcia, again, brings the shooting, has that outside shooting, at least from what we saw at Summer League, but also, needs a lot of time with the ball in his hands at times to bring that 3-level scoring ability. And so again, not as much either on the defensive end compared to someone like Champagnie and Bryant. So again, early on, just on paper, I think that Champagnie gets that final spot for the backup wing spot, which would mean that if Waters and Jones Garcia can beat out Champagnie for that spot, well, then I think that means they have more so reserve roles. So maybe where they're just they're going to be put into games when there's situational need for like spacing for someone like Waters, or if maybe another ball handling guard's needed, they could put in Jones Garcia. If there's a player gets in foul trouble from the rotation, then either of those players could come into the game, or if there's like an injury for a number of games, then either of those players can go into like a wing or guard position. And then for Jones Garcia, he can also go go and play in Austin if he's not getting any playing time with San Antonio. And we do want to note that since he's on a two-way contract, he only gets 50 games with the Spurs before they have to convert his contract over to a standard contract. So again, that's kind of the early prediction, I guess you would say, for Waters, and Jones Garcia is likely being more in reserve roles because there are a lot of players already on this team. And like I said, if you want to go watch some film that I put together on Waters and some stats, definitely visit that piece over on thespotupshot.com called Lindy Waters III's Outside Shooting. Thank you for watching, and make sure to hit that subscribe button.